if, like me, you went into finance because you love figures, you probably don't like writing, and especially you don't like to write long form documents of internal procedures or instructions. But now with ChatGPT, there is no excuse anymore because you can make ChatGPT write 80% of the document for you. And I'm going to show you how. Let's start with an example. Imagine an accountant that wants to write a bank reconciliation procedure. So we are going to use a technique called the chunking method, where we are going to chunk the document in several parts. So let's imagine one chapter per answer, and the sum of this chapter will make our document. So instead of drafting the document, I will ask to draft the outline. ChatGPT is much more ambitious because we have much more section, and now I'm getting closer to a real procedure. We will start by the first step, which is to write the outline instead of writing the full documents. And really important, you will need to review the outline. So before I start writing each chapter, I might see that something is missing. And here, for example, I want to add a part on the foreign currency. So now ChatGPT is rewriting the outline, and we just added here the foreign currency. And here also specific to each currency. So now it's good, it adapted to the fact that in my company we have several currencies. Now that we have done this, we are going to tell ChatGPT how each chapter should look like. Why should we do that? If you don't tell ChatGPT what is your style of writing and how you want the content of the procedure to look like, then you let too much freedom. So you need to give clear instructions. Now that we have done step 1, let's go to step 2, where we are going to tell ChatGPT how each section needs to look like. Because if you don't do that, you let too much freedom to ChatGPT, and you are at risk that it doesn't follow how, for you, your procedure needs to be written. This is why, if you give exactly a structure, like we are going to see in our example, ChatGPT is going to follow your style, and like this, you constrain ChatGPT to a specific output, which fits much more your style of writing procedure than if you let too much freedom to the tool. So now I'm telling ChatGPT what is the structure of each section. In a section, I want to have the goal, the step-by-step, also who is responsible for it, and the deliverables. And I will tell ChatGPT to draft the section 3 as an example. And you can see by having this structure, it follows exactly what I asked, starting with the goal, then having the step-by-step, and telling who is responsible for it and what are the deliverables. This is why I really like to use the structure framework, because you control the output and you are much closer to what you will have done yourself, rather than if you let too much freedom to ChatGPT. After the step 2, we go to step 3, which is the easiest one. You just ask ChatGPT to continue to write the other sections. Let's see how to do that. So remember, my section 3 is written, and I just now need to say write next section. And like I ask, it follows exactly the same structure. So now I need to review and check if the quality and if the step-by-step are in line with my company. And if I'm okay, then I will just continue and say next section. And if you do that several times, you have your ChatGPT who has written for you the procedure you wanted to write since months. And the last step is just to copy and paste in your Google Doc or in your Word document. So here, for example, let's imagine I will copy these two sections. I will go in the adjustment section and select everything and paste it here. And you can see that it keeps the bullet points. And then I need to continue with the next one. And I will select it, copy, and paste it here. So this is how you can create your document. If you use this copy functionality, it doesn't really look nice. Let's have a look. What it does, it puts these stars in front, and this is actually the code to make it bold, but it doesn't translate correctly in Google Doc or Google Word. So that's why I prefer to use the copy and paste in this way. Like this, you have the format and the bullet points that are still there, and it's easier to keep the format. You need to understand that the longer the discussion is, the higher the risk is that ChatGPT forgets the structure of the outline you gave at the beginning. So because of this, it might forget, and because of this, you need to pay attention. So the trick for this is first to double check that each section is really the one that is from the outline. And after, if you see that ChatGPT starts to forget the structure, just remind ChatGPT. Like this, you refresh the memory and you bring back in the context window the outline that you agreed at the beginning and also the structure of each chapter. Now you have seen how to do a procedure with ChatGPT, but you can use this to create instructions or to create also slides. The structure is the same. You start with the outline and then you write each part of the document or your presentations one after the other by following a specific structure.